Hire people who are already aligned with your values and the way that you see the world. Then get to see if they have the skills, okay? Don't put the skills at the front. You're gonna fall in love with the skills. You're gonna fall in love with the talent, okay? And then you're going to compromise on your values. Want to know what the best job posting ever written ever was? Cool, let's read it to you. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger. Safe return? Doubtful. Honor and recognition in case of success. That was a job posting that Ernest Shackleton, a famous Antarctic explorer, wrote about 100 years ago. He wanted to be the first to traverse Antarctica, and he needed men that were all in on this journey. And so I cannot think of a better job posting, but we're going to unpack a little bit why. But in order to do that, we're going to have to go back and talk about this idea that we've talked about in previous podcasts of this principle of compounding and compound interest. And the way that we talk about it at Vortex is the flywheel principle, okay? Where you picture a big giant flywheel, you're constantly pushing this flywheel, which is a strategy of several interdependent things. And eventually you get one big turn and you don't stop, and you get 10 and 20 and 50 and 100, and eventually you get unstoppable momentum. Eventually, compound interest kicks in, and the key is being consistent, okay? So let's unpack the flywheel a little bit more, and then let's get back to why this is the best job posting ever done. So the different parts of your flywheel, in our case with Vortex, we have 6 different parts, but somebody might have 4, 5, 6 different pieces of their flywheel that are strategy, okay? And remember, they're interdependent, they're not independent. So interdependent, meaning they're dependent on one another, and when you do one, the natural byproduct is you get the next one. And then when you do that one, the byproduct is the next, and so on and so forth, as opposed to independent, which they're not related to one another at all. Now, if that is the case, and it is that they're interdependent, well, it stands to reason that the most important part of the flywheel is the first part. Right? Because if we do the first thing, we know we're going to get the second thing, and then we know we're going to get the third, and so on and so forth. With Vortex and our flywheel, and I'm going to make an argument that on your flywheel, at least at the first part, you should do the same thing. We call it dialed in. It's all about dialing in Team Vortex, getting the right people on the bus, the wrong people off the bus, and the right people in the right seats. The dialed in part of our flywheel has several different components, but the first and most important is alignment. Alignment, and we call it the alignment effect. And the number one part of the alignment effect is we are going to hire people for belief. We're going to hire people who already believe what we believe, okay? What most people do is they put a job posting out and they want highly skilled individuals that are really good at their craft. And then they try to indoctrinate them or ham jam them into their culture, okay? Or they try to teach them, hey, here's what we're all about. We need you to adopt these values. But you see, you got to remember, we're hiring adults here. We're hiring people that are 25, 30, 40, 50 years old. They already see the world a certain way. Sure, people can change, but generally speaking, after the age of 25, they kind of are who they are. And I'll tell you one thing. Diversity can be a wonderful thing, okay? Diversity can be a wonderful thing. But diversity of values, diversity of belief within the same organization is a recipe for disaster. that diversity isn't good. Now, we're not saying we want everybody thinking the same thing. Different ideas and diversity of ideas is great, but diversity of values is disaster. And you've felt it. You've been on a sports team when you were a kid, or you've been at a company, or you've led a team, or you've hired somebody, or you've had somebody hired to your team, and they didn't believe what you believe. They didn't believe what the organization believed. They believed something completely different. And, oh, by the way, that doesn't make them bad and you good, okay? Or you bad and them good. But it does not make them a good fit. So the number one piece of the alignment effect is to hire for shared belief. Hire people who already believe what you believe. Hire people who are already aligned with your values and the way that you see the world. Then get to see if they have the skills, okay? Don't put the skills at the front. You're gonna fall in love with the skills. You're gonna fall in love with the talent, okay? And then you're going to compromise on your values. Flip the script. Hire first for belief. I don't even wanna see if they're a graphic designer, I don't even wanna see their work, okay? I don't wanna see their work, all right? I wanna know if they're aligned culturally. Then we can look at the portfolio. Okay, so we're gonna hire for shared belief. We've got this image that we show all over Vortex, and I think it illustrates this really well. I want you to picture a bunch of mini little arrows in the shape of an arrow, okay? And all those arrows are pointed in the same direction. And then next to that, I want you to picture a bunch of little arrows in the shape of the arrows, but there's one change, one big change. All those little arrows, they're all pointing in totally different directions. Now, if one of those arrows symbolizes an organization and the other one symbolizes a different organization, which one is going to have a bigger impact? Which one's going to go further? It's the bunch of little arrows that are all pointed in the same direction. The one with a bunch of little arrows pointed all over the place, they're not going to get anywhere. That's a recipe for frustration and friction. You're not going to have a good impact over there. But that's what a lot of organizations look like if you look at them from a personal values perspective. And that's because they over-indexed on skills and they under-indexed on shared belief. They under-indexed on alignment. There's another picture, and I think a lot of people, maybe it's just young boys that can relate to this, but I think everybody can, and that's when you were little, you'd get a magnifying glass on a hot July sunny day, you'd get a magnifying glass, and you would get all the rays of the sun on that magnifying glass, and of course, you get them aligned around one single point on a piece of paper or something like that, and all of a sudden, the paper could actually catch on fire. But you weren't catching on fire, and if you didn't have the magnifying glass, the paper wouldn't catch on fire. The reason the paper caught on fire is because you aligned all of the rays of the sun around a single point. That's what we want to do in our organizations. That's what gets that flywheel turning. You get a bunch of individuals with a shared belief. They can have different ideas on how to get there, but when they have a shared belief, they're going to work through those differences collaboratively and end up having a big impact. When everybody believes different things, they don't work collaboratively, okay? They start to develop silos, okay? There's a lot of friction. Things take much longer. Everybody's frustrated. We don't want that. We want alignment. When you have alignment, everything gets easier. Alignment is the WD-40 of an organization or a team or a project. But here's the thing. We're talking a lot from an organization's perspective, okay? And we should. It's more on them in the hiring process to be really, really honest, okay? We want candor with kindness. We don't want to snow our potential future employees on who we are. We want to come out and we want to say it right away. All right. So here's the thing. If your organization, if you at the top of your organization, if all you really care about is profit and money, own it. Own it. Put it right there in the job description. Own it. What you're all about. What Shackleton did here, men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. Didn't mention anything about a 401k. Didn't mention anything about the coffee machine, okay, in the break room, because he was being brutally honest on who he was and the journey that they were taking. And oh, by the way, that immediately screened out anybody who was more worried about benefits. It was people that were worried about it, worried they wanted adventure, okay? He wanted people to read that and said, that's me. Where do I sign up? Because he knew something that we've forgotten. It's all about shared belief. So if you're all about money, if you're all about profit, own it. Own it. Just say it. Just say it. You're going to find some people that are all about that. And guess what? That's who you want in your organization. Now, I'll tell you one thing. Don't send them to Vortex. We don't want that, okay? Money and profitability and a solid bottom line, that's on our list of things that we want, but it is not the center and it is not number one, okay? We're all about people and we're all about serving people. We're all about making serving others our superpower. That's what we're all about. So if you're all about that, come on, apply at Vortex. We've got a good starting point, and then we can start to look at the skills, or then we can look at what our needs are and see if there's alignment there. Okay? But if you're in an organization, own who you are and be upfront and honest. Don't snow these candidates. Now let's flip it on the candidate side, okay? Because you've got a responsibility too. What kind of organization do you want to join? Sure, I know you need to make money. I know you want to have good benefits. I know you want all those things and they're important. But what you should be really trying to find out when you're going to that company's website, when you're walking in the door and the first person that you meet, what's the vibe in the place? You need to be asking questions around values, around shared belief. Is it there? Because if it's not there, guess what? You're going to be frustrated. They're going to be frustrated. And you spend so much time at work. So much time at work. In a previous podcast, we talk about 90,000 hours of your life. On average, between 18 and 65, 90,000 hours of your life is going to be spent at work, okay? And the idea isn't just to put it on autopilot and just get through those 90,000 hours. No, we want to optimize those hours. We want to be able to thrive in those hours. And sure, some of them are going to be tough. Some days you're going to feel like you want to rip your coworker's face off, okay? We get that, but we want to optimize as many of those 90,000 hours as possible, and the way to do it is the alignment effect if you're a candidate. And try to find that organization. Do they already see the world the way that you see it? Do they already believe what you believe? Do you have alignment? If you do, then you should be interested, okay? So we have a responsibility on the organizations and the CEOs and the team leaders and HR and hiring managers. And quite honestly, the bigger responsibility is there, guys. That's where I see a lot of people snowing these candidates. But also, candidate, we've got a responsibility for you. But the alignment effect doesn't just end there. The alignment effect is everywhere. It's in your relationships, okay? What about when you're choosing a spouse? Hey, I get it. The butterflies, the chemistry, the fire between somebody. You want that. That's great. And that is awesome. But I will tell you this thing. If there's not a shared alignment around values, if there's not a shared alignment around what kind of life you want to have, do you want to have kids? Do you not want to have kids? How many? Are you going to go to church with them? Which denomination, right? How do you see the world? Those are the important things when you're choosing a spouse. Those are the important things when you get in a friend group, okay? Do you want just the fun friend who's great to call for a good time? What about that friend who's always there and got your back when you're down and out? Who do you want to spend the most time with? I don't know. That's up to you. What are your values? Are you choosing a spouse? Are you choosing friends on shared belief? But it doesn't just stop there. What about individually? Individually, what are you aligned with? I can tell you for myself, okay? I'm a man of faith. I believe in Jesus. I believe in God. And when I am aligned with him, my life goes better, even in the midst of a bunch of storms, especially in the midst of a bunch of storms. When I'm aligned with him, things go well. When I'm out of alignment with him, it doesn't matter whether I got storms or sunny skies. Things aren't going well. I feel stuck. I feel frustrated. I don't have momentum in my life. And you know why? It's because I'm out of alignment. I'm out of alignment. So it matters individually. It matters in our relationships. It matters in our organizations. It's all about alignment with the North Star, okay? How you see the world, the beliefs that you have, and the extent that you're living in alignment is the extent that you're going to have momentum. That is what we are all about. That's why this job description is so good. Let's read it one more time. Men wanted for hazardous journey, small wages, bitter cold, long months of complete darkness, constant danger, safe return, doubtful, honor and recognition in case of success. You in? Let me tell you something. If you read this and you were somebody that was aligned with that, you know immediately, probably halfway through, you're in. And that was the brilliance of Ernest Shackleton. He got to alignment. He got to what his beliefs were extremely quickly. 4 lines here. And he outlines the type of people that he's looking for. What are you looking for? What are you looking for if you run your own company? If you have a team? What are you looking for if you're looking for a new organization? What are you looking for in friends and a spouse? What are you looking for individually? Let me ask you something. Spend some time with this. Are you living in alignment? Do you even know what you believe? Do you know what your North Stars are? I'm going to tell you in a future podcast, we're going to talk about creating a vision and a mission and core values, both for an organization and individually, or even as a family, okay? But for right now, we really want to get this alignment effect. Get it into your DNA. Spend some time thinking about it. I bet you'll find this. Any areas of your life there's frustration or there's friction, you're out of alignment. You're out of alignment. You need to spend some honest time reviewing your life and seeing where you're out of alignment, and then figuring out, what do I need to align to? And if and when you need some help with that, we're going to be here in a future podcast to talk about vision, to talk about vision, mission, and to talk about core values. But until then, let's get this alignment effect ingrained, and we'll see you next time. Listen, guys, movements are built on connection. If this resonated, share it and join the conversation. Hit that subscribe button or check the show notes where you can follow me on all my socials. Or check out more about the movement at vortexcare.com. Let's build something rare together.